I want you to just close your eyes for a second and try to imagine a time lapse playing out right in front of you.
I love a good visual.
Right. So picture a dog moving through its entire life, but the whole thing is compressed into just a few seconds. So first, you see this clumsy puppy.
Oh yeah, paws that look like a whole size too big.
Exactly. Bright eyes, kind of stumbling around trying to figure out what a leash even feels like. But then flash forward and suddenly it's an adult.
It's a completely different animal at that point.
Totally. It's this silent blur of muscular speed just
Yeah.
tearing across a field, like pure, elegant, explosive motion.
It is a striking image, especially, when you consider the sheer biomechanical leap from that clumsy little puppy to an apex sprinter.
Yeah, and then in the very next frame of this time lapse, that exact same dog is back home, and it's completely buried under the sofa blankets.
Just a lump.
Just a trusting, completely unmoving little lump. And finally, the time lapse slows down. You see a senior dog walking a little more carefully now, maybe wearing a winter coat against the chill.
But still alert.
Mhm. Always. The instant something moves in the distance, that head just snaps right to attention. Different ages, different bodies, but the exact same hardwired dog underneath it all.
It's the whole journey. And honestly, that time lapse perfectly frames exactly what we're looking at today.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are extracting the absolute best nuggets of wisdom from this comprehensive lifetime health checklist or blueprint, really dedicated to one very specific, very fascinating breed, the Whippet.
And there's a lot to unpack here.
There really is. We're looking at everything from, puppyhood all the way to those golden senior years, distilling what it actually takes to care for a creature like this. Because, okay, let's unpack this. A Whippet isn't just a generic dog, is it?
Not at all. I mean, you really have to understand the creature sitting in front of you.
Right.
The Whippet blueprint is incredibly specialized. They are intensely visual, and they are built for short bursts of just extraordinary speed rather than long, grueling endurance.
Which changes everything about how you treat them.
Exactly. They are prey-driven, emotionally sensitive, physically thin-skinned, and they have almost zero body fat, which basically means they are constantly seeking out warmth.
Which means if you don't understand that blueprint, you are going to struggle. Like, you can't just treat them like a rugged, tumbling bulldog and expect things to go well.
No, it'd be a disaster.
Think of a Whippet like a finely tuned, open-wheel Formula One race car.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. An F1 car doesn't have this massive fuel tank designed for, like, a 24-hour endurance race.
Right.
It has a highly specialized engine built to burn fuel instantly for explosive speed.
Yep.
And if you force an F1 car to drive off-road at a slow, grueling pace for hours, the engine overheats and the suspension just completely breaks.
That is a perfect analogy, because that is exactly what happens to a Whippet's joints and, honestly, their mental state. If you try to force them into a mold they weren't designed for.
Like trying to make them your marathon running buddy.
Exactly.
Ah,
It just
yeah.
doesn't work. Everything in a Whippet's life flows directly from that single, unique blueprint.
So you can't properly maintain a high-performance machine without understanding how it was built in the first place, right? So let's start at the very beginning with puppyhood.
The foundation.
Right. And a major theme that kept coming up in our research is that the goal of puppyhood isn't about rushing to some kind of physical perfection. It's about safe, steady, and heavily monitored growth.
Rush development is actually a massive risk here. Because of how they are built for that eventual explosive speed, their bones and joints are highly vulnerable while the growth plates are still open.
Which brings up a term I think every dog owner knows, but it has really specific stakes for this breed, and that is zoomies.
Oh, the zoomies.
Ah.
Technically known as frenetic random activity periods, or FROPs.
FRAPs, yeah. When a puppy gets that sudden, just wild burst of energy.
It is inevitable. I mean, they're going to purge that pent-up energy whether you want them to or not.
But the crucial detail from the source material is the surface they're running on. Letting a Whippet puppy do their zoomies on a slick hardwood floor isn't just, funny to watch. It's genuinely dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Because they are slipping and sliding around, which actually causes micro tears in those developing ligaments. You have to provide high traction surfaces like rugs or get them out on the grass just to absorb that kinetic energy safely.
Exactly. You are protecting the physical architecture there. But alongside that physical growth, you're also managing their mental architecture.
It was huge.
Right. Their prey drive, that hardwired desire to chase literally anything that moves. It does not wait for the puppy to grow up. It is fully active right from the start.
And that brings up a massive challenge because these dogs are incredibly sensitive, both physically and emotionally. So how do you socialize a dog that is naturally that sensitive without absolutely traumatizing it?
That's a tightrope walk.
Because you can't just throw a Whippet puppy into a chaotic dog park with a bunch of heavy wrestling dogs and expect them to thrive.
You absolutely cannot. What's fascinating here is the mechanics of socialization for a sighthound. It's not about forced interactions to, like, toughen them up.
Right.
Socialization for a Whippet is entirely about building calm confidence. It is all about gradual desensitization.
So walk us through what that actually looks like in practice. How do you build that calm confidence?
You start by exposing them to the world from a very safe distance. You let them watch traffic, or maybe watch other dogs, but without forcing them to interact.
This is observing.
Exactly. You are teaching their nervous system that the world is active, but it's not threatening. And a really huge part of this is building their confidence when they are alone.
Oh, the alone time.
Yes, you don't just leave them for 4 hours on day one. You leave them for 30 seconds. Then you come back. Then you build it to a minute.
Wow, just tiny increments.
Right. Because you are neurologically wiring them to understand that solitude is safe. It's not a form of abandonment.
So you're basically laying the groundwork so that when this highly sensitive puppy becomes this lightning fast adult, they trust you and they trust their environment.
Including the vet.
Oh, absolutely. You have to start veterinary visits from the very beginning, not just for shots, but for gentle handling of their paws, those really long, thin legs, their mouths.
Because eventually, as they age, you're going to need to handle those areas constantly. And if they don't trust you, it becomes an absolute nightmare for both of you.
Which actually transitions perfectly into the daily maintenance of the adult dog. So once we have that delicate foundation set, how do you fuel and run this F1 engine?
Well, the primary shift in focus when it comes to nutrition is that you aren't just looking at a number on a scale.
Right, which people do all the time.
Exactly. A lot of people see a Whippet and they think, oh, they look way too skinny, I need to feed them more. Or conversely, they think, well, they are a Whippet, so they're supposed to look like a walking skeleton.
Both of which are wrong.
Both are completely wrong. You are looking at lean body mass and actual muscle condition, not just weight.
I really love the guiding principle for this from the source text. It says, the bull should support the Whippet body, not disguise it.
That's a great line.
It is, meaning don't overfeed a Whippet to try to make it look like a Labrador, but you also have to monitor their actual energy levels and digestion closely because they burn so much energy just staying warm.
That is the key right there.
Right.
Because they lack insulating body fat, their metabolism is just working overtime just to maintain core temperature in a regular cool room.
Wow.
So their nutritional needs actually fluctuate wildly. It depends on the season, their daily activity level, and their specific muscle output on any given day.
And speaking of activity level, here's where it gets really interesting because it completely bucks conventional wisdom. You'd think a dog that is this fast needs hours and hours of running every single day.
A lot of people assume that.
But the goal isn't more exercise. It's the right movement in the right conditions.
If we connect this back to your F1 analogy, just think about their muscle composition. Whippets are predominantly made of fast-twitch muscle fibers, also known as type 2 fibers.
Okay.
These are designed to burn glycogen instantly for a massive explosion of speed, but they fatigue very, very quickly. Unlike, say, a sled dog, which has those slow-twitch type I fibers built for pacing over 50 miles.
Precisely. So if you try to take your Whippet on a forced 5-mile jog on pavement, you are actually degrading their specific muscle type.
You're ruining the engine.
You are overheating an engine that does not have the cardiovascular setup for endurance. Their exercise routine needs to reflect their actual biology.
So what does a healthy, biologically appropriate routine look like then?
It's a mix. First, daily walks that offer really deep mental engagement. You are letting them sniff, process scents, and mentally map their environment.
Because sniffing is exhausting for them, right?
It is incredibly neurologically taxing for a dog. It exhausts them mentally in a way that just walking at a heel doesn't.
And then what about the sprinting?
And then you give them safe sprinting in genuinely secure spaces. Let them explode for 3 minutes, and then they are done.
3 minutes, that's it.
That's all they need. And furthermore, rest and recovery are a functional biological part of their fitness. It's not a gap in it. So the sofa time is actually part of the workout plan. I love that so much.
It is absolutely essential for their muscle recovery.
But, you know, this intense physical management outside creates a really interesting paradox. Because they expend all that explosive energy outdoors, Indoors, they become almost invisible.
They really do.
They are so quiet on the sofa, it's so easy to forget what they are capable of once they get outside. Which brings us to their mental hardwiring, because that massive prey drive dictates their daily safety.
It creates this total illusion of easy. But they are sighthounds. Their entire hunting sequence starts with vision.
And their vision is mechanically different from ours, isn't it? Like, we read about this specific warning sign owners have to learn, the moment of stillness and staring.
Oh, yes.
When a whippet goes completely still, they aren't just casually looking at a squirrel, are they?
No, it is a neurological lock-on. Sighthounds have something in their eyes called a visual streak. It's this horizontal band of high-density ganglion cells right across their retina.
Okay, wow.
It allows them to track fast movement across a very wide horizon with incredible high definition without even having to move their head.
So when they freeze, their brain is literally calculating the vector and speed of the target.
Exactly. That stillness is the final processing moment before the chase actually begins. And the scary part is, once they launch, they are essentially deaf to you.
Because the instinct takes over.
The instinct totally overrides their hearing. You do not exist in that moment.
Which means it's not just rabbits you have to worry about, it's anything that triggers that visual streak.
Cats.
Cats, livestock, cyclists. Honestly, even a child running quickly away from them can trigger that predatory chase sequence.
That's absolutely true.
It just doesn't matter how solid they are in your quiet backyard. If that instinct kicks in, they are gone. So you have to use long lines in open, unfenced spaces. You have to physically check gates. Like, don't just assume the latch caught, you have to pull on it.
And you need secure, high fencing. You just cannot trust their recall blindly. The environment has to be managed.
Okay, let me push back on this a little bit, though, based on what the text says. Because if they have this intense visual lock-on, and they need all this hyper-secure space, and you can practically never trust them off-leash in an open field, does that mean you just can't have a whippet if you live in an apartment?
It sounds like they need a sprawling country estate.
Exactly. It sounds like apartment living is out of the question.
It's a completely logical question, but the reality is that apartments absolutely work.
How? That seems to contradict everything we just talked about with the sprinting.
Because it really comes down to intentional management. The size of the home does not dictate the quality of the dog's life. The owner's awareness does.
Okay.
An apartment is perfectly fine if the daily walks are enriching, if you have access to a safely fenced tennis court or a secure dog run for those short bursts of sprinting, and if those alone time skills are properly managed.
There is a quote from the source that really stuck with me regarding this exact balance. It says, "A whippet's freedom is healthiest when it is designed, not gambled."
That is the perfect distillation of Sighthound ownership.
It just makes me think about how we can't rely on luck at an open park. We actually have to architect their environment for them.
Designed, not gambled.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't just open the front door and hope for the best. You design the safe space for them to explode into.
And part of designing that space includes how you train them, right?
Yeah.
Because of their soft temperament, harsh physical corrections completely fail.
You are dealing with a dog that is incredibly sensitive, but armed with a massive hardwired instinct. If you try to punish the instinct out of them with harshness, you won't override the instinct.
You just scare them.
You will only destroy their trust in you. You break that calm confidence you worked so incredibly hard to build back in puppyhood.
Which brings us to a really fascinating dynamic. Managing their explosive safety outside means you must be equally vigilant about their quiet health inside.
Yes, the indoor dynamic is totally different.
Because they are so stoic and soft indoors, their health management requires a radically observant approach from you, the owner.
They just don't complain. If a whippet is in pain, they rarely whine or limp dramatically unless it is something catastrophic.
Wow.
The quiet dog speaks through tiny, subtle changes.
We have to talk about what's known as the coat trap, because this was such an aha moment for me when reading the material.
It is a brilliant concept. Because think about a golden retriever or a poodle.
Fluffy dogs.
Right. Those breeds require constant, intense grooming and brushing.
You are running your hands all over them every single day just to keep mats out of their fur.
Exactly. And without even realizing it, that daily chore of brushing actually acts as a full-body medical exam.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
You are constantly feeling their skin, their muscles, checking for lumps or sensitive spots. But a whippet has a very short, fine, single-layer coat.
They practically never need brushing.
The coat trap. Because they are so, quote-unquote, low maintenance to groom, you don't touch them systemically.
That ease of care just lulls you into a total false sense of security.
Precisely. You remove the chore of grooming, and you accidentally remove your baseline health screening along with it.
So you might miss something big.
You might miss a thin skin tear after they've been playing rough, or you might miss slow muscle atrophy in their hind legs simply because you aren't running your hands over them with intent.
So you have to deliberately build body awareness habits. You have to manually massage their paws, feel for lumps, run your hands down their spine. Basically, do manually what a grooming brush would normally force you to do.
Exactly.
And the single biggest hidden issue you have to check manually, their teeth.
Dental care is disproportionately critical for this specific breed.
So what does this all mean? Like, why such a heavy focus on teeth for a sprinting dog?
Well, it goes straight back to their anatomy. Sighthounds have these long, narrow snouts. Their teeth are often very crowded in there, which makes them highly susceptible to plaque buildup and periodontal disease.
And it's not just about, bad breath.
No, it is about systemic health. If those gums get infected, that bacteria enters the bloodstream, and it travels directly to the heart valves and the kidneys.
Oh, wow. So in a dog whose entire existence relies on peak cardiovascular performance, a hidden tooth infection can literally degrade their heart.
It's terrifying, really. And because they are stoic, they won't cry about a rotting tooth.
They just endure it.
They will just subtly start dropping food out of their bowl, or you'll notice they're only chewing on one side of their mouth. It silently ruins their quality of life.
So toothbrushing isn't a cosmetic choice here. It is a life-extending medical intervention.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it underscores the need for a deep, ongoing partnership with your veterinarian. Because the quiet dog doesn't announce its discomfort loudly, you and the vet are co-interpreting these tiny signals before they morph into irreversible systemic problems.
Which naturally brings us to the culmination of all this observation, the senior years, and the absolute power of tracking data.
This is where that lifelong habit of keen observation pays its absolute highest dividends.
Because in their golden years, everything slows down. But caring for a senior whippet isn't just about doing less. It's about proactively adapting.
You have to change with them.
Right. You adapt their walks so they keep moving without joint pain. You watch for that hidden muscle loss we talked about. And you monitor for cognitive shifts. Like if they suddenly start pacing or seem lost in the hallway, you don't just dismiss it as, oh, they're just getting old.
You document it. And warmth becomes non-negotiable at this stage.
Yes. Because they lose what little muscle mass they actually had, their ability to regulate temperature drops even further.
It gets so cold.
So it's coats indoors, it's ramps so they don't have to jump onto the sofa, it's heated beds. I love the sentiment we uncovered in the text regarding aging. It says, aging isn't something to dread. It's simply a new chapter where comfort becomes the clearest language of love.
That is just beautifully put. But to provide that comfort effectively, you need actual data, not just vague memories.
Right.
You need a way to track their baseline so you know when they deviate from it.
We looked at digital health tracking concepts in the sources, and one tool that came up as a prime example is called VitalPet.
Right. The idea behind a tool like VitalPet, or honestly even just a dedicated, highly organized journal, is to turn scattered observations into a functional care system.
You are logging metrics over time. Their weight on a Tuesday, the consistency of their stool, how long it takes them to stop panting after a short walk compared to, say, 6 months ago.
Because a single day doesn't tell you much. But when you have a digital log showing a slow, steady increase in recovery times over 6 months, you can walk into your vet's office with actionable data.
You give them the full picture.
You empower the vet to actually help, rather than relying on a drawer full of old, crumpled receipts and guessing.
The vet isn't just there for emergencies like when the dog eats a sock. They are the medical context to your daily data. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we have to look at the final verdict on the Whippet. Are they an easy breed to care for?
It's the ultimate question.
And the answer is incredibly nuanced. They are easy if you understand the dog in front of you.
They aren't hard just because they are fast, and they aren't effortless just because they sleep 18 hours a day on your couch.
You have to protect their delicate, fast twitch body. You must respect the visual mechanics of that massive hunting instinct. Keep them warm, deliberately check for the quiet signs of pain since they won't tell you, and track their data.
It's a commitment.
Basically, you have to let the quiet sprinter be fully, completely itself. Don't wish for a golden retriever in a Whippet's body.
This raises an important question, though, doesn't it?
Oh, what's that?
Well, The entire philosophy of caring for this specific breed relies on radical acceptance.
Hmm.
You have to accept the creature's fundamental blueprint. You don't fight it. You don't punish its hardwired instincts. You observe it deeply. You learn how its biology works.
Hmm.
And you architect its environment so it can thrive exactly as it is.
Designed freedom based on radical acceptance.
Yes. So what would happen if we applied that same logic outside of dog care? What if you applied that same level of tailored observation and profound acceptance to the people in your life? Instead of wishing your partner or your child or your friend were wired differently, what if you just took the time to truly learn their blueprint?
Wow, that's deep.
Or even more challenging, what if you applied that profound acceptance to your own changing body as you age? Giving yourself the same grace, careful observation, and adapted comfort you'd so willingly give to a senior dog.
That is something to sit with. If you treated yourself with a fraction of the intentional care you give to getting the exact right winter coat for a dog, you'd probably be a lot better off.
It's a powerful thought to take away.
It really is. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the lifetime blueprint of the quiet sprinter. We've gone from the mechanics of a clumsy puppy to the adapted love for a stoic senior and uncovered a whole philosophy of radical acceptance along the way. So until next time, take care of that dog on your sofa right now and take care of yourself too.